He was one of the world's most celebrated diplomats and a charismatic symbol of the United Nations. Kofi Annan rose through the ranks of the UN to become the first black African Secretary General. His decade in the post from 1997 to 2006 was one of turmoil for the world and the UN. But Annan continuously stressed what both were capable of.
There are no limits to what you can achieve.
The Ghanaian diplomat was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2001 for having revitalized the UN. A year later, he established the Global AIDS and Health Fund. It has so far saved millions of lives and provided treatment and care to people with HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria. Annan was also a voice for peace and understanding after the September 11th attacks in the U.S., saying, "Humanity is indivisible." While there were many highs in Annan's career, there were also lows. As head of the UN peacekeeping operation, Annan was criticized for the organization's failure to halt the genocide in Rwanda in the 1990s. He also staunchly opposed the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq in 2003. After he finished serving as Secretary General, he was named as the first UN envoy at the start of the Syrian war, but he quit 6 months later in frustration over the stubbornness of the parties involved in the conflict and inflexibility of the UN Security Council.
The only way to resolve this conflict is to get the international community, the Permanent Five, working with the regional powers as well as the Syrian parties to find a solution. If we can work out a common framework where we all work along the same lines to implement it, we stand a chance.
I think we will remember Kofi Annan most for his dedication to peace and human rights, to his unfailing belief that diplomacy, dialogue, and just the United Nations works. That we can avoid conflicts, that we can resolve conflicts, and that we should never give up.
Kofi Annan will be remembered as a successful leader who was able to navigate the halls of the United Nations here in a way not seen before. He was an excellent diplomat and negotiator, and he was a man who stood by the principles of international law. Months before his death, Annan called himself a stubborn optimist, saying, quote, "I was born an optimist and will remain an optimist." Those words defined a diplomat whose legacy spanned nearly 6 decades. Frank Ucciardo, TRT World, New York.